Discover the incredible, heartwarming stories of the Greek gods that transformed lives forever. Sam rubbed his hands together, wiping the grease from his palms, as he stepped into the sunlit yard. Over the years, he learned that hidden treasures were often buried beneath the surface of struggle. This Saturday, the scents of fresh-cut grass and coffee mixed with the faint aroma of old leather beckoned him to the yard sale. His heart raced with anticipation, hoping to catch a glimpse of something special. As he rummaged through boxes, an ancient, worn book caught his eye. Its title faded, but its promise apparent. He picked it up, feeling the weight of its history. Inside, vibrant tales of Greek gods tested by love and unity leapt off the pages, echoing his own life's battles. Every story pulled Sam deeper into a world where odds were overcome against insurmountable challenges. He could almost hear his grandfather's voice, steady and true, reminding him of the power of grit. Instantly captivated, he bought the book and took it home, his heart like a drum in his chest. That night, the flickering lamp illuminated his small living room, shadows dancing around him. Every page turned felt like a balm to his restless soul. Tales of Hercules, Athena, and their fierce love ignited something deep within him, a flicker of hope among the weight of his family's financial struggles. Sam's mind drifted to Jake, his brother, the ambitious one. Contrasting to Sam, Jake saw the world through a lens of profit, convinced that cutting corners would lead to success. As their loyalty to family and the dreams of the future collided, a storm brewed that only seemed to intensify. Just then, a chilling blast of wind rattled the window panes. A creeping fear wrapped around Sam like a tight coil. Tornado warnings blared through the town, a sharp contrast to the warmth he felt just moments ago. As chaos reigned, Sam's heart raced. The storm struck with blinding fury, tearing apart their old family garage, twisting metal and splintering wood as if they were mere toys. When the skies cleared, devastation lay before him. But amid the wreckage, a remarkable spirit rose. Sam stood in front of their neighbors, people with battered homes and worn faces. "We are in this together," he declared, the words heavy but filled with determination. The community remembered his grandfather's tale, how he once rallied friends and neighbors after tough times. Inspired by this legacy, Sam organized relief efforts, and old friends and strangers alike chipped in. Hands joined in solidarity, mending not just homes but hearts. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they labored together, laughter echoed through the streets, drowning out despair. Amidst the rebuild, Sam discovered a buried truth. His grandfather was more than a war hero. He had shaped lives, his sacrifices the backbone of this town. Each revelation deepened the bond with Jake. Yet the question loomed, what did true success mean for them? With emotions boiling to the surface, they faced each other. Jake's ambition, a stark contrast to Sam's sense of duty. Their dreams, once tethered, stood on opposite sides of an emotional battlefield. Could love and ambition find common ground? Could they rebuild not only their town but their brotherhood too? As they stood at the crossroads, a thick tension wrapped around them, leaving all to wonder. Would the bonds forged in family and sacrifice hold? A choice lay ahead that could either unite or tear them apart, leaving a lingering question in the air: what truly defines the future they fight for? Sam could still feel the adrenaline rush from the storm. But now, the sense of purpose surged even stronger as he stood in the street, surrounded by neighbors. Torn and battered houses stood as silent witnesses to the chaos, but the warmth of community spirit hung in the air like a fresh dawn. It was within this moment that Sam realized, perhaps more than ever, he needed to reconnect with Jake, someone whose ambition, though often misdirected, had the potential to inspire. "Let us start with the community center," he suggested, his voice steady as he turned to the throng of willing hands. With so many families displaced, We need a place where folks can gather, get food, and find support. Several voices chorused in agreement, ideas flying like sparks. The older folks reminisced about how they first organized a neighborhood potluck. The youth started planning their fundraisers with fire in their eyes. The energy was contagious, drawing Sam and Jake back to the very heart of their family's legacy. Later that evening, as the sunset painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, Sam sought out Jake. He found him leaning against a knocked-down fence, watching the world move past. Sam knew the ambitious spark that usually lit up Jake's eyes seemed dimmed now, masked by frustration. "Hey, you all right?" Sam approached cautiously, the tension still thick between them. Jake finally looked up, his brow furrowed in thought. I thought this storm would hit businesses harder, not just homes. It's like everything I've worked for is being swept away." He kicked a small shard of wood, releasing a frustration that had built for years. "Yeah, but look around us, man." Sam gestured to the crowd working together, the resilience spoken through laughter and shared meals. "We can't let fear and ambition tear us apart. We've got something more important happening right now." Jake's expression softened for just a moment. "You're right. I get so caught up in the endgame I forget about the people. But what about our future? Just because we're helping now doesn't mean life's going to be easier. Life won't just hand us an easy answer," Sam said, a fire igniting in his chest. "But together we can carve our path. If we focus on each other and our roots, maybe we can redefine what success looks like beyond profits and accolades." A heavy silence lingered. The common ground felt attainable yet fragile. Both brothers wanted something significant for their futures, but what did that mean for them as family? Sam watched as conflicting emotions flashed across Jake's face, worry straining against the glimmer of hope. "Dude, how about we make a decision right now?" Sam suggested, a nervous energy buzzing in the air. "What if we take a step back from our individual goals and figure out how we can move forward as partners helping our community and each other? Like truly together?" Jake paused, his eyes scanning the revitalized camaraderie of their neighbors. The wheels turned slowly in his mind, wrestling with tradition and ambition. "'Kay," he finally said, a new resolve in his tone. "Let us do it. Together. But," he added hastily, "we have to be smart about this. I'll lead fundraising efforts. You handle logistics. Let us figure this out." As they shared tentative smiles, Sam felt a breath of fresh air wash over him, but doubt still lingered. The path ahead held uncertainty, choices that could shift their brotherhood one way or the other. As darkness settled in, Sam gazed toward the stars breaking through the night. It wasn't just their future they were reshaping. It was also the powerful legacy of sacrifice and loyalty. Both brothers stood at the dawn of change, but could they truly balance heart and ambition in the decisions to come? With doubt clinging to the edges of their resolve, the weight of responsibility heavy on their shoulders, they braced for the ride ahead. The truth loomed in the distance. What sacrifices were they willing to make to protect not only who they were but who they might become? The next morning, the sun rose soft and golden, illuminating the ruins of what once was. Sam could already hear murmurings of people gathered outside, the spirit of community palpable in the air. He quickly dressed and stepped outside, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The brothers had made a promise to their neighbors, a promise to breathe new life into the community, and today was the first step. As he approached the community center, now a makeshift hub of hope, he spotted Jake talking to a group of teenagers. The spark that had dimmed the night before flared back to life, as he animatedly explained plans for a fundraiser. Sam couldn't help but smile. Jake was in his element, drawing on the energy of these kids, igniting their ambitions. "Hey," Sam called out, joining the huddle. The teenagers turned, their faces lit with enthusiasm. "We're all in this together. Let us brainstorm some ideas. Maybe a bake sale?" One girl suggested, her brown hair bouncing with excitement. "Or a car wash," shouted another, as laughter erupted at the image. Ideas bounced around the group, each one bigger and bolder than the last, and Sam felt that familiar adrenaline surge again. It wasn't just the storm that had brought them here. It was this shared commitment to something greater than themselves. After a while, the group dispersed to put their plans into motion. Sam pulled Jake aside, his brow furrowed in thought. "You really got through to them. I think they believe in us," he said, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. "Yeah, it feels good, doesn't it?" Jake replied. The weight of the world they had both been carrying seemed a little lighter, even if just for a moment. However, as they walked back toward the center, a flicker of anxiety crossed Jake's face. What if we don't raise enough money? This all feels so fragile, like it could collapse at any minute. Sam looked at him, feeling the fear creeping up his spine as well. We just need to keep reaching out to everyone. Even people who weren't affected by the storm. They need to see how important this is." Jake nodded, still biting his lip. "You're right. We have to think bigger. We can do more than just fundraisers." In that moment, an idea struck Sam. What if we set up a community fair? Food trucks, games, live music? We can invite local businesses to showcase their services and donate a percentage of their profits. Could be a real celebration of resilience. Jake's eyes brightened, the hope flooding back. "Yes, that's the plan. And we can market it on social media, draw in a crowd from neighboring towns." Sam could hardly contain his excitement. "Let us get to work." Then, as they began drafting plans, a sense of clarity swept over them both. They weren't just taking on the storm's aftermath. They were building something that encapsulated their family's legacy of connection and community service. Later in the day, as they broke for lunch, Sam leaned back against the wall, surveying the bustling activity around him. Each smile, each shared joke felt like threads weaving them all closer together. But in the back of his mind, a worry festered the past mistakes, the ambition that could lead them astray. "Jake, can we talk?" he ventured, his voice low as they stepped away from the crowd. What if some of our plans start to compromise our morals? I mean, we can't lose sight of the reason we're doing this." Jake froze, processing the weight of Sam's words. "I know, but we have to balance vision with practicality. We can't let heartbreak hold us back. This means more than just us." Sam clenched his fists, fighting down the unease. The stakes were high. Their decisions would echo through their futures. He could feel the pressure mounting, and the fear started creeping back in as the sun began to dip low in the sky. They stood, two brothers at a crossroads. Would their resolve hold against the temptation for personal gain? Could they maintain integrity while chasing this ignition of community spirit? Tomorrow promised new challenges, unforeseen obstacles, temptations, and choices that could threaten their new alliance. In the depths of their uncertainty, though, the spark of hope flared brighter than ever. What would they confront as the community fair approached? And could they withstand the storm brewing within their hearts? The next morning dawned crisp and clear, a refreshing breeze ruffling the leaves on the trees. Sam and Jake sat at a picnic table outside the community center, markers and papers spread out before them. The energy buzzing between them felt electric, fueled by their shared vision. "Okay, so we need to figure out what businesses we can reach out to," Sam said, jotting down names on the notepad. He felt a mix of determination and nervousness, the kind that set his heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. Jake leaned in, his brows furrowed as he concentrated. "Let us start with the ones that already have a connection to the neighborhood. The cafe down the street? They've always supported local events. Right, and the hardware store. They might have tools we can use or even donate supplies," Sam added, his mind racing with possibilities as they continued brainstorming. A small group of locals began filtering in. First came Ms. Hill, the elderly woman who had lived in the neighborhood longer than both the brothers combined. Her cane tapped against the pavement as she approached, her smile brightening the morning. "Boys, what's all this?" she asked, peering over their shoulders at the colorful scrawl on paper. "We're planning a community fair," Ms. Hill, Jake explained, pride evident in his voice. "We're hoping to raise money to help everyone rebuild after the storm." Her eyes glistened with reminiscence. "Oh, I remember the last fair we had. It brought everyone together. It was magic," she said, her voice soft but animated, conjuring memories that danced between them. Sam felt a swell of warmth. "That's what we want to do," he said, pasting a smile on his face. "Bring the community back together." Just then, a few teenagers strolled by, laughing and teasing each other. There was Emily, the girl who had suggested the bake sale, holding a box of cookies. "Hey, we heard about your plan," she called, winking at Sam. "Can we help out? We can organize the games." "Absolutely," Jake said, his voice booming with excitement. "We could set up a tournament, maybe soccer?" "Yeah. And I could get my band to play." Another boy piped up, his enthusiasm infectious. Suddenly, the worries that had been gnawing at Sam faded slightly, replaced by the bright faces of youth teeming with energy. The more they talked, the more the fog of doubt lifted. But as they planned, Sam couldn't shake a shadow lingering at the back of his mind, the fear that, in the push to succeed, they might lose sight of the people's hearts involved. It was easy to focus on numbers, on social media buzz, but what mattered was that their efforts genuinely uplifted the community. 2 hours later, ideas took off in every direction, each more ambitious than the last. Petting zoo, a dunk tank, art displays featuring local talent. All dreams began to create a tapestry of hope. But then the topic shifted to fundraising. "Maybe we should try to get sponsors?" Jake suggested hesitantly, aware of the potentially slippery nature that mingled with business. Sam's stomach twisted. "Or it could start to feel corporate. We need that local feel. Let people buy into the spirit, not just the cash flow." "Right," Jake replied, although confusion flickered on his face. "But we need money. That's why we're doing this," as Sam nodded, determination fighting the doubt. A new thought flickered, a flash of daring. "What if we put a cap on how much a sponsor can contribute? To keep it from spiraling?" Jake paused, considering. "That could work. It will keep us grounded while still getting the support we need." But even as they talked, lingering uncertainty hovered like storm clouds. Could they find that balance between aspiration and ethics? The day wore on, and as evening approached, the excitement in the community center solidified. A tangible thing they could almost wrap their arms around. But just outside, noises of discord crept in, whispers about Joe, their neighbor who had lost everything and didn't see the well-meaning efforts as anything more than empty gestures. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the adjacent street. They all turned in unison. What now? Sam's heart pounded as he braced for the unknown, hoping that maybe, just maybe, it was an opportunity for healing and connection rather than conflict. Tomorrow would bear witness to the truth, a test of their ideas and hopes for the fair. What would they find when they ventured beyond these walls? The crash echoed like a thunderclap, freezing the conversation around the picnic table. Sam's heart raced, an icy grip of worry taking hold as he exchanged nervous glances with Jake. "What was that?" Emily asked, her confidence wavering. "I don't know," Jake responded, pushing himself up from the table. "Let us go check it out." They hurriedly made their way toward the sound, their group following closely. As they neared the corner of the street, the scene unfolded. A delivery truck had tipped over, boxes spilling out onto the pavement like fallen soldiers. The driver was outside, groaning as he rubbed his forehead, a bit dazed but seemingly unharmed. "Is everyone okay?" Jake called out, his protective instincts kicking in. The driver nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "Yeah, just a rough ride. I wasn't paying enough attention." Sam joined the little crowd that had gathered, heart pounding for more than one reason. As people moved to help the driver, something shifted deep within him. The need for community became palpable, a reminder of why they had decided to plan the fair in the first place. "Look," Sam began, addressing the group around him, "this could be a moment to unite. Let us help him out. We can turn this mess into something good." "Who's in?" A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, people stepping up to assist. Some began picking up boxes, while others organized the disarray along the street. As Sam worked alongside them, the scent of cardboard and spilled oranges wafted in the air, mingling with the rising sense of camaraderie. He exchanged smiles with Ms. Hill, who had made her way to help out as well. "Who knows?" She grinned. "Maybe this delivery could become part of our fair." "Yeah. shouted another neighbor, gripping a heavy box. We could set up a fresh produce stand. Local fruits for everyone. The idea caught wildfire. With each box that was lifted, a new plan emerged, and soon laughter filled the air. Sam felt the weight of doubt lift. This is what community felt like, more than just a fundraiser, more than a fair. It was connection, shared experience, and mutual support. Maybe we could even turn this into a little mini fair right here, Jake suggested, excitement sparkling in his eyes. We have fruit, a story to tell, and people willing to help. It's practically perfect. Let us call it the accidental fair, Emily declared as she placed an apple on a nearby stool, making them all laugh as the evening sun dipped lower, drawing golden light across their faces. The spirit of the neighborhood blossomed. They transformed the accident into an unexpected gathering of smiles and stories. Sam stood back momentarily, taking it all in, understanding how these moments of life could ignite hope and healing. But just as the laughter seemed to drown out the earlier worry, Sam's eyes caught a glimpse of Joe standing a few steps away. His face was crumpled with resentment, arms crossed tight. Sam's heart sank. The man who lost so much looked unwilling to join this fragile moment of joy. "Hey Joe," Sam called, voice steady but gentle. "Come help us out. We're making something good out of this." Joe frowned, eyes narrowing. "What's the point? It's just a band-aid on a bigger problem." Sam felt a knot in his stomach. Joe's bitterness was palpable, a dark cloud amidst their sunshine. "But it's a start," he tried, stepping forward. "We can't change everything, but we can do something. And we'd love for you to join us." Joe shifted, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. Sam held his breath, hoping for just a crack in that tough exterior. What'll it take to bring him in? He wondered as Joe looked back at the scene of community gathering, still holding back as the warmth of shared purpose radiated all around as the glimmer of possible hope battled against Joe's hesitation. Sam's next words trembled on his lips, ready to bridge the gap. Would Joe take a step toward them? Or would he remain an outsider in this unfolding story of recovery? Tomorrow would tell. Joe hesitated, the weight of his crossed arms heavy with unspoken fears. Sam took a slow step forward, his heart pounding as he sensed this might be his moment. "Joe, I know you're hurting," he tried, keeping his voice even. "We all are. But we're here right now, together. Look at what we're doing." He gestured toward the makeshift gathering, laughter ringing through the air as friends and neighbors rallied around the fallen boxes, turning chaos into creativity. "Just give it a chance," Sam added, his tone softening. "You don't have to do this alone. None of us do." Joe's gaze drifted to the scene, the smiles, the dances of sunlight on fresh fruit, the collective effort to create something bright from the wreckage. Sam could see the battle in Joe's eyes, the flicker of curiosity battling against the weight of despair. "Why should I?" Joe finally asked, his voice a mix of anger and vulnerability. "What's that gonna change?" "It changes our tomorrows," Jake interjected, stepping up beside Sam. "You're part of this community, Joe. We don't just share the good times. We support each other through the mess. Every little effort helps, even if you think it's just a drop in the ocean." There was a moment of silence, a tension stretching between them. Joe looked back at the group, genuinely cheerful, work-worn hands busy, encouraging banter flying. The contrast to his own isolation was stark, cut like a knife. "Why not?" Sam whispered. "We don't have to fix everything this second. But we sure can start together." Joe stayed quiet, but something flickered in his eyes, a spark of willingness, or maybe just desperation for connection. Finally, he uncrossed his arms, letting them fall loosely at his sides. "All right," he muttered, his voice barely audible. The moment hung heavy in the air, almost electric. Sam's heart lifted as he saw Joe take a tentative step forward, then another. It felt monumental, like they were teetering on the edge of something transformative as he approached the thrumming pulse of community. Jake grinned. "Let me show you the best way to stack these boxes, Joe." Others turned, welcoming Joe with smiles and waves. Sam held his breath, eyes glued to the unfolding moment. He could see the tension in Joe lessen, the latter's features softening among friendly faces. In a matter of minutes, laughter sparked between them. Joe let himself smile, genuinely curious about the assortment of fruits and stories being shared. As they began to organize the fruits, a small sense of warmth flickered in Sam's chest. Maybe, just maybe, they were all making strides together. Yet deep down, uncertainty lingered. Sam knew that even the smallest progress could still face resistance. Will Joe really stay? He worried for a moment, glancing at the man now animated by laughter. It was clear Joe needed more than just fleeting moments of connection. He needed hope, a belief that change was possible as the sky transitioned from golden light to twilight. Their laughter faded beneath the evening breeze. Sam caught sight of an old neighbor watching from afar, a shadow of doubt casting over her warm smile. It reminded him that there were layers to every soul in this community, ones that simmered under the surface. Tomorrow, Sam murmured to himself, what can each of us give tomorrow? Just then, a loud crash echoed from the pile of boxes, shattering the moment. Gasps filled the air, and every head turned toward the source of the commotion. What had just happened? As everyone rushed to the scene, curiosity replaced the previous hope, and Sam felt a fresh wave of anxiety wash over him. Little did he know that this disturbance would unravel even deeper stories, and possibly close off their fragile progress. How would they face what came next? Would Joe's progress sustain against new challenges? The commotion erupted as an old wooden crate slipped from its precarious pile, crashing to the ground in a cacophony of splintering wood and chaos. Sam's heart raced as he rushed toward the scene, the laughter that had been filling the air replaced by a wave of alarm. Joe, he called out, knowing full well that the moment of connection they had just shared, just started to build, was now hanging by a thread. He pushed through the group, spotting Joe standing still, his expression a mask of uncertainty. Sam felt a surge of protectiveness. They had just made progress. It couldn't all unravel now. What happened? Sam asked, trying to keep his voice steady as he scanned the crack in the stacked boxes, searching for broken fruit or mangled hopes. Joe stood frozen, his eyes wide as if wrestling with the sudden shift from joy to chaos. It dropped. I wasn't watching. Joe's voice quivered, a hint of panic hidden beneath the surface. He looked at the scattered apples and oranges rolling away like lost dreams. His brow furrowed, the smile from just moments ago fading fast. Jake joined them, lifting a fallen orange. It's okay, Joe. We just pick it all up, he said brightly, trying to diffuse the tension. It's not the end of the world. We've got this. But Joe's shoulders slumped under the weight of something deeper. Sam noticed the way his eyes darted, almost searching for an exit. I can't mess it up again, he whispered, as if confessing a long-held shame. The vulnerability in his voice cut through Sam's resolve. Hey, Sam said, stepping closer. Nobody's perfect. I've dropped my share of boxes too. It's just part of this togetherness, you know? We stumble, we pick each other up. He felt breathless as he spoke, knowing how fragile their forward momentum was. Joe looked down, his fists clenching and unclenching, searching for some form of stability among the fallen fruit. Sam took a chance and reached out, placing a hand on Joe's shoulder. It was a small gesture, but it felt monumental in the moment, an anchor in the storm. What if we all take a breath? Jake suggested, inviting others around to join in. Let us make it a game. Everyone gets to help out. Let us see how quickly we can put this back together. Slowly, the atmosphere began to shift again. Sam watched as neighbors rallied, laughter bubbling back up, the collective spirit igniting like kindling. They moved together like a well-oiled machine, gathering fruit and stacking crates, creating a sense of purpose from the disarray. See? Sam said, encouragement spilling from his tone. This is what we do. We make mistakes, but then we come together to fix them. We've got your back, Joe. Joe looked around, and for the first time he seemed to truly see them, not just faces in a crowd, but as a tapestry woven by shared experiences. Okay, he said, a slight grin breaking through. Let us do it. The tension melted, and Sam could feel the warmth of relief in the air, an unspoken bond forming as they worked side by side. Just moments before, they had been strangers lost in their own worlds, but now they were teammates against the unexpected twists life threw their way. Yet, As they laughed and joked, the old neighbor with the shadow of doubt lingered at the edge of the group. She still watched thoughtfully, a flicker of concern in her eyes as she observed the transformation. "Why do you still stand apart?" Sam thought he heard her whisper to herself. It posed a question that hung in the air, one that might lead to deeper revelations. As the evening deepened and the stars began to peek out, the community continued to restore order with every shared laugh. But one question still pulsed at the edges of Sam's consciousness. Would the unity that brought them together withstand the trials that were bound to come? He turned to Joe, ready to explore those depths, ready to confront whatever shadows might linger, both in Joe and in the community. "What else can we discover together?" he asked, pulling Joe's gaze back to the group. As the evening drew on, the atmosphere was charged with a newfound energy. The stars above glittered like scattered fragments of hope, and laughter mingled with the sweet scent of ripe fruit. Sam felt a warmth bloom within him, a sense of community that was both comforting and exhilarating. Joe seemed to thaw with each passing moment, his earlier tension replaced by a lightness that mirrored the growing spirit around them. Together, they weaved through the gathering crowd, picking up fallen apples and oranges, joking alongside their neighbors. Sam savored the simple joy of being part of something larger than himself, the feeling that they were carving out a little piece of belonging amidst the chaos of life. "Look at that tree," Jake exclaimed, pointing to a nearby apple tree, its branches heavy with fruit. "We should have a picnic under it next week. Let's celebrate what we've built here." The suggestion sparked a chorus of agreement, and Sam watched as faces lit up with enthusiasm. Ideas flew through the air, each person contributing their own flair to the picnic planning. But somewhere in that joyous noise, Sam felt a glimpse of doubt flicker through his mind. Would these ties endure beyond the evening? The fragility of their connections weighed on him, as if the joy they felt now could slip away with the fading sunlight. He turned to Joe, who was still beaming, clearly caught up in the plans. There was a place for Joe in all this, a thread in the fabric that was coming together, but could he hold on to it? "Joe," he said, drawing closer, "you feel it too, don't you? This connection?" Joe looked at him, a warm smile playing on his lips, though the shadow of anxiety lingered in his eyes. "I do. It's just, what if I mess up again? What if I drop more boxes, so to speak?" The vulnerability in Joe's voice struck Sam again. It was the same feeling that had haunted Sam for so long, a reminder that imperfection was part of being human, a backdrop against which growth could unfold. "Then we pick them up, just like we did today, together." Sam's words came out stronger this time, fueled by a determination to reinforce the bond blossoming before him. Joe took a breath, his expression softening. "Yeah, together." But as the laughter continued to rise, the old neighbor's muted presence lingered in Sam's thoughts. He caught her watching the group, her face painted with concern. It was a stark contrast to the vibrant energy of the evening, and Sam couldn't shake the feeling that her instincts were right. He felt a nagging urge to talk to her, to understand the shadows she might see that they weren't addressing in their joy. "Hey, I'll be right back," Sam said to Joe, taking a step toward the neighbor. "I want to check in with her." Moving through the crowd, he reached her side. "Hi there," he said, trying to match her contemplative gaze with a tone of warmth. "I noticed you've been watching. Is everything okay?" Her eyes followed the gathering, assessing something he couldn't quite discern. "I'm just worried," she said, her voice low. "Sometimes, it's easy to get swept away by the good moments, but change doesn't come without its struggles." As she spoke, Sam felt a shiver of understanding prick at his heart. Her words echoed the trepidation he felt deep down, a whisper of truths he had yet to confront. "But what if those struggles are what make us stronger?" he countered, hopeful yet unsure. "What if confronting them is how we truly connect?" Her gaze turned to him, surprised by the renewed defiance in his tone. "Only if you're willing to face them and invite others in." Those words hung between them, weighty yet full of promise. What did that mean for Joe? For their community? Sam felt invigorated as the air thickened with potential. What other truths are waiting for us to uncover? He pondered silently, feeling the tug of deeper connections that lay just beyond his grasp. As he returned to Joe, the laughter of the group seemed sharper, their collective joy a reminder of how fragile, yet beautiful, these moments could be. Sam couldn't help but wonder, what shadows were lurking beneath the surface? Would they have the courage to shine a light on them before it was too late? Sam returned to Joe, who was surrounded by a group of neighbors, laughing and throwing ideas back and forth about their upcoming picnic. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that danced at their feet. Sam's heart felt a little lighter. Sharing this moment with Joe meant everything, yet the neighbor's words echoed in his head like a distant drum. "Hey, what did she say?" Joe leaned in, curious. "She's just concerned," Sam replied, smiling but keeping his voice low. "She thinks we should be careful not to ignore the struggles that come with all this." Joe furrowed his brow. Struggles? Like what? Just the balance of celebrating and facing what's hard. "I think she senses we're all a bit fragile," Sam explained, searching Joe's eyes for understanding. "Yeah," Joe said, taking a moment. "I mean, I guess we've both been through our own things. But does that mean we have to bring that up now?" "Could, if we want to grow," Sam replied, finding his courage. "You know, sometimes I think we're so focused on the happiness that we forget the weight it rests on." Joe nodded slowly, digesting the conversation. Just then, laughter erupted nearby, pulling their focus. A couple of kids were racing towards the apple tree, eyes wide with excitement. The old neighbor smiled faintly, the corners of her mouth lifting slightly as she watched. "Maybe we could use that moment," Sam suggested, nodding towards the children. "A reminder that joy can coexist with whatever else we're carrying." Just then, Jake appeared, an arm slung dramatically over the shoulders of two friends. "All right, everyone, we need a theme for the picnic. Who's got ideas?" A chorus of voices began to rise again. Harvest time, family reunion, fruit fiesta. The vibrant energy filled the air, even as quieter thoughts swirled in Sam's head. He watched Joe's face light up amidst the chatter, drawing from the collective excitement. But is that enough? Sam mused silently, his heart a mix of hope and worry. As the plans for the picnic took shape, the group began discussing food and activities. In the midst of it all, Sam spotted the old neighbor still lingering near the edge, her eyes still lowered, her smile less certain. It tugged at something deep within him, a need to bridge the gap between joy and fear. "You know," Sam said suddenly, catching Joe's attention. "Why don't we invite her? Maybe she has stories to share, something to teach us?" Joe's eyebrows shot up, surprise etched on his face. "You think she wants to be part of it?" "Why not? She cares enough to be here. I think she just needs the invitation." Joe shrugged, uncertainty creeping back in. "It's kind of a big ask, don't you think?" "Maybe," Sam agreed, feeling the weight of the decision. "But isn't that what community is all about? Inviting the stories, both the happy and the hard?" Joe was quiet, his gaze drifting back to the older neighbor. "Okay, let us do it," he said finally, determination threading through his voice. "But you have to back me up." As they approached the woman, Sam's heart raced. He felt the tension of what might happen. It was an invitation that could either deepen their bonds or make things awkward. But behind that uncertainty was hope. "Hey," Sam called out, his voice steadying as he reached her side. "Would you join us for the picnic? We'd love to hear your stories." The woman looked up, her surprise evident. For a fleeting moment, a glimmer of hope danced in her eyes. I wouldn't want to intrude," she replied, her voice soft. "Not at all," Joe chimed in, the light returning to his face. "We'd be honored to have you." Sam held his breath, holding on to the moment. This was a crack in the barrier, a chance for sharing not just joy but everything they had felt and hidden away. But then, a sudden commotion erupted just beyond the tree's raised voices, followed by the sound of something crashing. Sam and Joe exchanged worried glances, the moment of connection faltering as they rushed to see what was happening. Were we really ready for this? Sam wondered as they sprinted towards the sound of chaos. In his heart, he hoped they would find an answer before it was too late. Amidst the chaos of shouting and crashing, Sam's heart raced. He pushed through the crowd, adrenaline surging as he and Joe emerged near a group of teens gathered around a toppled picnic table. The expressions on their faces a mixture of shock and excitement. The table had tipped, sending napkins and plates flying in every direction. But it didn't seem to dampen their enthusiasm. "Don't worry. We've still got plenty of time before the picnic starts," one teen exclaimed, laughter breaking free even as they began gathering up the remnants of the scattered setup. Sam watched, heart swelling at the resilience he saw, the very spirit they had been fostering in the neighborhood. Jake stepped forward, a grin lighting up his face. "See? This is what it means to be a part of something bigger. Things won't always go to plan. But together we fix it just like before." "Yeah," echoed a girl with bright hair, her arms flailing in exuberance. "We're tackling challenges like pros." For Sam, it was more than just a gathering, it was a revelation. The chaos that unfolded turned into an emblem of their journey, a reminder that progress was rarely linear. They were learning to embrace every twist, every bump along the way as part of their growth. As calm returned, Joe turned to Sam, an approving nod shared between them. "Looks like we're building momentum, huh?" he said, relief slowly pouring into his tone. But just as happiness washed over him, Sam caught sight of the old neighbor still lingering at the edge, still observing. It struck him the fragility of their connection, the need for her presence alongside their joy. "Hey, we need her here," he motioned subtly to Joe, who nodded in agreement, his expression firm as they approached the woman again. "Hi again," Sam began, warmth flooding his voice. "We're really close to launching this picnic, and we'd love for you to share your stories with everyone. Could really mean a lot to us." For a moment, the woman hesitated, eyes flickering between fear and hope. A tight security looped around her heart, and Sam could see she was wrestling with the weight of her own history. But then something shifted. The determination in Joe's hopeful expression matched Sam's sincerity. "It's not just about the happy moments," Joe added, stepping forward, voice steady. "Everyone here has a story. Yours could help connect the community even more. Please join us." The old neighbor's smile trembled, a soft spark igniting in her eyes as she spoke. "I remember how vibrant this neighborhood once was. I'd love to share. It might help us remember what bound us together." "Yes," Sam exclaimed, heart swelling. "That's exactly why we want you. We're not just about rebuilding the structures, we want to strengthen our ties." Her expression softened as she let out a shaky breath. "All right then. I'd be honored to share." As they walked back to the prepping grounds, the sense of community surged in Sam's chest, a feeling mixed with gratitude and hope. The previous doubts that shadowed the evening began to dissipate, revealing the essence of their connections. It wasn't just about the fair or their individual ambitions anymore. It was about weaving narrative stories that healed as they uplifted one another. When the day of the picnic finally arrived, the sun shone brightly in a clear blue sky. Colorful decorations covered the green space, laughter filled the air, and the scent of freshly prepared food wafted through the gathering. In the heart of it all stood Sam and Jake, arm in arm, sharing proud glances as small groups formed around the makeshift tents. Tables with mouth-watering food, games, and local performances were brimming with energy. But the true heart of the picnic came from the myriad stories shared under the apple tree, stories of resilience, of loss, of hope, and abundance that transcended beyond the confines of their past struggles. As the old neighbor began to speak, a hush fell over the crowd. Her voice, filled with warmth and wisdom, wrapped around them like soft velvet. "When I was young," she said, eyes glistening, "this neighborhood was a tapestry woven with every life here like threads in a beautiful fabric. We leaned on one another through storms both literal and figurative, and together we found restructuring stronger than ever before." And every voice that followed Jake's ambition, Sam's heart, Joe's uncertainty generated a symphony of unity. Laughter and tears danced together as moments unfolded, igniting a sweet realization. Their shared histories held the power to build something beautiful, true success rooted in connection and community. By the end of the day, as the golden hour painted everything in hues of warmth, Sam felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. They had faced storms, both external and internal, Emboldened by the threads of kinship, they de-woven through shared struggles and triumphs. With every challenge they embraced, they deepened their resolve to redefine not only their future, but to uphold the very essence of who they were, a legacy of love, sacrifice, and resilience. Together, Sam shared with Jake and Joe, looking out at their thriving neighborhood less like a battle they had to win and more like an ever-unfolding celebration. This is what it means to truly succeed. As the evening drew to a close, their community surrounded them, laughter mingling with the chill of the approaching night. They stood shoulder to shoulder, hearts full, ready to embrace whatever the world would throw their way next, and deep down, Sam knew it wasn't just a picnic. It was a pivotal moment, a gathering that sealed their commitment to one another and to the legacy they were determined to uphold. Now it was time to spread their wings. If you've enjoyed this heartwarming journey towards resilience and unity, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending. Your voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us keep the ripple effect of hope alive together.